In this video, I'm going to show you how to add an extra hard drive to your PC to use for storage. Before installing your hard drive, you're going to need to know what kind it is. For this computer that I'm doing, it's a Ide Interface, and for most newer computers, it's going to be SATA 1 or SATA 2. They're both the same cable and the same plug-in. They basically look like this. They're a little slot. For my computer, it only had 2, and my main hard drive is on SATA 0, and I just plugged it in to SATA 1. So yeah, the back of the hard drives will look similar to this. You can just do a Google image search on SATA interfaces, but that small one is the data, that's your SATA port, and then the big slot is your power. So all you're going to want to do is just hook it straight up. Your power supply should have an obvious power slot for these type of connections. It's the only one that can fit in there, and then you just run a SATA cable that's long enough to the port on your motherboard. Now, I usually like to use shielded SATA cables for my storage devices. I didn't have one in this case, so it'll work just fine. And also nice power supplies. This machine I'm on right now is a Dell, and doesn't really have a good power supply. These drives like good clean power. If you have a good power supply, it's gonna really increase the life of the drive. The other type of interface is Ide Interface. It's older and it's more of like a ribbon cable. It kind of looks like this. The power is old school kind of power. Most power supplies still have some of these connectors on them, but one thing you're going to want to remember is the jumper placement on your IDE. It's usually master, slave, and cable select. You're going to have to look on the drive itself to know exactly which one it is. It won't work on master. It'll work on slave or cable select. I usually put it on cable select. Okay, in order to get our drive working, we need to find a partition manager to partition the drive and then put a file system on it. I'm going to go to my favorite website here, filehippo.com. And this is the best source of free, awesome software in the world. FileHippo. That's it. Perfect. Yep. This ESYS Partition Master is pretty damn good for Windows. You could do it with a Linux CD, but this is really good. Download latest version. You can download it to anywhere on your hard drive. Just download it to a place and run the exe to install the program. Read through the license agreement and accept it if you do. You could buy the professional edition. I know the free edition is really good, so the professional is probably awesome too. That's fine. We don't need to check for updates when we start the program. We're only going to use it once. And let it install. You could enter information here if you want to be emailed with offers. And somebody already spammed that email address into their system. I'll get rid of that. And here's where you want to be. ESYS Partition Master main screen. It recommends that you close all other programs. And as you can see, Ide's Partition Master has located our drive on our computer and says that there's almost 700 gigs of unallocated space. So we need to create a partition. Choose logical because this is a storage drive. Now, some people like to put more than one partition on a drive, but I like to use the whole thing. I like to use one partition per disk so I'm never confused as to which hard disk on my computer has two partitions on it. Also, if you split a drive into two partitions, you'll have one partition that's faster than the other because the outer radius of the disk spins faster than the inner. The partition label is what the drive will be called. Here I'm going to call it Restronic, and that looks okay. Your changes will be listed right here. We'll have an E drive called Restronic formatted to NTFS. NTFS is the Windows file system, and it'll almost have 700 gigs on it. Before you click apply, just make sure nothing has been changed to your existing disk. Click apply. You don't need to shut down the computer after you're done. And it's working. This is a relatively quick operation. Click OK. And that should be it. This unallocated space is firmware for the Western Digital drive that's located on the drive itself. You can't get rid of it, so that's fine. And as you can see in your file manager, E:"Restronic is ready to use. Now this is not the best way to keep your files. It is an okay way. The drive will be accessed less because it's not your system drive, so it will probably last longer than your C:. However, this is nowhere near as secure as network attached storage or off-site backups, but it will work.